So this last weekend, I went to the Minnesota UCC conference annual meeting. And we had a speaker there that talked about the Jerusalem moment for Jesus. You know, there's and he was saying, you know, we often talk about this during Holy Week, but for him, this was much more applicable to the rest of his life. It was really hitting the rest of his life in a strong way. And there's the coming to the gates of Jerusalem, identifying what is my personal Jerusalem, what is our congregation's Jerusalem, and then there's the decision to go in to Jerusalem. And then there's the confronting death, you know, and that can look in many forms, right? So, but this image of, and the question of what is the Jerusalem? And I thought that was a pretty helpful image to have, and just to think about what are the risks that we're willing to take, what's the level of commitment we have, what are the issues that we want to focus on. And the other piece that came up out of conversations with another member of the congregation was that we started talking about our organization, our culture at our church. And this came up again for me in a meeting just last night of, are we a church that tends to do a lot of things with more of a surface level engagement, right? Which is not necessarily a bad thing. That can be really good. That can be a place where lots of people can plug in and say, hey, I want to be connected to that. So there's that breadth. Or are we a church that wants to go really deep on something? Do we want to build a long-term relationship with an organization or a community that's around us? And so we make decisions that we don't do a lot of other things, but we go really deep. And so for me, what came up was our church historically has been more of a church that has done a lot of things like, you know, right now we're also working on sanctuary, becoming a sanctuary church, but we've done a number of different kinds of things that come up organically that we respond to, but we don't always have this, we're going to be with this community for a really long time. And so I just wanted to offer that as a framework to think, what's the culture of your church? Do you want to intentionally create just a bunch of activities that people could get engaged with so that you could shift the culture to get excitement about maybe Eco-Reformation? Or are you at a place where you want a group of people or the larger church to engage in a deeper way? So that's just the framing of the conversation of something that for me was very, very personal of I want to be engaged in that conversation in an intentional way, to say it's okay, whatever way we decide, but let's really decide and then help us frame what we do together.